Hello again. This is Math 2134 coming to you from the College of DuPage, and this lecture is entitled Product and Quotient Rules for Derivatives. Please be active learners as you view this video. Here's the product rule. The derivative of f of x times g of x is f of x times g prime of x plus g of x times f prime of x. More simply put, uv whole prime is equal to uv prime plus u prime v. Said in words, the derivative of the product of two functions is the first function times the derivative of the second plus the second function times the derivative of the first. The product rule can be extended for any number of functions, and we may talk about that later. It's important for students to note that the derivative of the product of two functions is not the product of the derivatives. This is a common error, and it is a fatal error. Here's the proof of it. So if we say p of x is f of x times g of x, we're going to use the definition of the derivative again. So it's p prime is equal to the limit as h goes to 0 of p of x plus h minus p of x all over h. And we substitute that in, but now we're substituting it as f of x times g of x, and we get this. Now we're going to do that great math technique of adding 0 in a clever way. This is actually 0 to the numerator, and factoring and rearranging things. And when we do that, we're going to get this expression, which in turn, if I factor things appropriately and put the h being divided there, it is this times this plus this. And then what I can do is I'm going to do the limit of the sum as the sum of the limits. And I'm going to pull out things that don't depend on h. And so what happens is that I can pull out things that don't depend on h, and I will get this at the end of my labors. So that is the proof. And here we've used the fact that f is continuous. So there's a problem for you to do. We want to find the derivative of this function times this function. You know what to do. Let's see how you did. So it's going to be the first function times the derivative of the second. And the derivative of this one is going to be 3x squared. Plus, it's going to be this function times the derivative of this, which is going to be 4x. Now, it is useful often to simplify these. I will ask you to plug numbers in. So we can simplify this by distributing and collecting like terms, and this is the answer that you have at the end of the problem. In this problem, not all problems, but in this problem, you could have multiplied first and then done the calculus, instead of doing the calculus and then doing the algebra. Here's a second example for you. Differentiate, find the derivative of this function, f of x is equal to x cubed times the square root of x plus 1. You know what to do. Let's see how you did. So it's the product. This is the first function. This is the second function. So the derivative is going to be the first function times the derivative of the second plus the second function times the derivative of the first. Now the derivative of this is going to be 1/2 x to the minus 1/2, and then the derivative of the constant is 0. So that is what we get here. The derivative of x cubed is going to be 3x squared. So then I will distribute and simplify, and this is the answer that you should have gotten. And here again, I note that you could have distributed x cubed across here, calling that x to the 1/2. And taking the derivative. So you do sometimes have a choice doing algebra then calculus, or calculus then algebra. We now know how to take the derivative of an exponential function, so here's another example. Find the derivative of this. You know what to do. Let's see how you did. So it's going to be the first function times the derivative of the second plus the second function times the derivative of the first. And so the x squared times the derivative of e to the x. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x plus, this is going to be e to the x times the derivative of x squared is 2x. And if you simplify that, you can factor out an x and e to the x from each term. And this is the simplest way you have it. Again, I'm going to be asking you to plug numbers into these things. Stay tuned for the quotient rule in the next video.